Hello, Bradford.
Hi, Tracy.
How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Good. I have a question that a couple of the students have asked me about the Archangel Sound Experience, which is going to be amazing. It's Friday, March 3rd. But the question is, because of the word archangels, what does that mean? Is it religious? Like, what is it?
That's a great question. Um, and the archangels exist outside of religion. Archangels are advanced, some of the earliest advanced, closest to source consciousness um, expressions of that consciousness. If you can understand that whether you're religious or not, there is a source of intelligence and a source of consciousness, a source of life. You could be, for example, extraterrestrials call it the all and refer to that as the great central sun of the universe. And there is energy of that sun, that original sun, in everyone, the sun spark, right? We have souls, we have spirits, whether or not you
Okay.
believe in any particular sort of religion. And as that ultimate expression of divine consciousness starts to differentiate itself and step down and create creation or create an experience of itself. There are certain dimensions, like I'm not. There's so many different schools of thought have so many different descriptions of the major dimensions, but let's just say there are seven. And
Hmm.
so at the very highest one, there are these universal sources, forces that create the interact with each other to have time become possible and have space become possible and have a physicality become possible. And the archangels are some of these highest, earliest beings that serve to uphold the dimensions. They're like an infrastructure, but in a sense, they also have that highest view of everything going on. And so they have the ability to be essentially almost everywhere at once. God is the only entity or the source consciousness is the only
Hmm.
thing that permeates everything. But the archangels they're holding up these certain structures with their massive, we interpret it as wings. And so when you work with an archangel, an archangelic force or frequency or entity, you're accessing that uh, higher level of concentrated source consciousness that has most of the purity, that hasn't had corruption or distortion, which needs healing. And so different archangels, they interact with us humans and also other beings and other, the archangels will appeal to Arcturians, they'll appear to the Pleiadians, and they also have the certain roles or assignments, much like the Ascended Masters have different rays of color that have different things, like Saint Germain with the violet flame of
Hmm.
transmutation, that sort of thing. Metatron really overseeing the driving force of evolution and the Fibonacci sequence and the spiral and Metatron's cube and all of that stuff. So he's out there doing that, making sure creation proliferates.
Hmm.
Whereas Archangel Michael, he is one to confront and my new language is integrate that darkness. Right, we live in a dualistic. This universe is comprised of dualistic nature. There's an original force and there's original sun, and it's the yin, the yang, the male, the female, the negative, the positive polarity. And so
Hmm.
there's the good, the bad, the light, the dark. Archangel Michael serves to uh, overcome and not necessarily subdue, but he's always represented with his foot on a dragon or a serpent, which is the
Hmm.
evil. But we've graduated to a higher level of consciousness where we realize the duality is just they're a unit, and to unify and to integrate and to merge both within is how you transcend to the higher level of consciousness. So Um, it's more about consciousness than religion. Religions, in my definition, religions actively seek to separate one from source by being an intermediary, and a lot of people can thrive in that environment, or they accept the parameters and they grow. There's a lot of mystics in every religious tradition. But the archangels themselves are not exclusive to any particular religion. They will exist, and they do exist, and they function as very significant and important aspects of the universal structure.
Okay.
Uh, that's a good question. So yes, the Archangel Experience. What's
Yeah.
that?
Um,
So, I personally, I have opened myself to the ability to channel angelic healing frequencies with my voice. I'm trained as a classical pianist and composer, a master's degree in music. Music is very similar to crystal healing in the sense that the different frequencies that you string together create, compositions,
oh, that's
symphonies or
mhm.
gemstone layouts. And so, my working with my guides and with the archangels, I'll just put in right now. It was freshman year of undergrad where I was first visited by an archangel. In fact, it was Archangel Michael who came into my dorm room at night, hovering above my bed. I woke up, giant glowing wings, and he handed me a flaming sword. And I wasn't raised Catholic. I wasn't really. We were raised. I was raised Congregationalist, which is kind of like the laid back, chill type Protestant. That there's no iconography, there's no idol worship, there's none of
Hmm.
that representation that's so rich in the Roman Catholic thing. And I don't
Mhm.
even, I can't, of course, I must have heard of an archangel, but I didn't really know of them or was interested in them. And yet, over the years, beginning with that one, I've had personal interactions with five of them, well, four of them. It's complicated. But anyway, uh, I was guided. Actually, this was created as an opportunity. Someone wanted me to compose music that they could use during a hypnotherapy session to work with Archangel Michael. And so that's actually how I created this.
Wow.
Archangel Michael came to me, and I basically downloaded by pressing record on my MIDI sequencer and just playing on my keyboard. There's a whole sequence in this first half-hour meditation with Archangel Michael that represents the conflict or the struggle between the forces of light and dark and the
Oh.
ultimate victory of it. Because people think that angels, angelic, but they are warriors, and
Mhm.
they did they they do have that strength, and so it's not all roses and rainbows, and that's represented in the music, which is a more authentic version of it than just the fluff that you see out there, like Hallmark
Mhm.
versions of angels and archangels. So I did, with the help of Archangel Michael, also create a gemstone layout that the VIP ticket sale, you get actually the entire layout of stones placed on your body, which infuses you with the vibration that directly connects with this particular archangel. As everyone and everything has a signature frequency, the
Mhm.
signature frequency of Archangel Michael is contained within this gemstone layout, and it's a fantastic experience. So
Yeah.
you get to have experience a channeled sound healing while receiving the gemstone layout, and of course I will be activating my distance healing energies and call in these archangels to work with us, as well as even more advanced angelic beings that I work with, known as the holy divine angels. And that's something else, but that's my added bonus, because I just love working with these beings. And
Yeah.
really, it's about restoring, uh, integrating, transcending, releasing, purifying. In fact, Archangel Uriel, the other one that I've also did a similar process. Uriel came to me using a crystal, a quartz crystal point as the primary or initial means of communication with me, and I found that true for a lot of crystals. They become links for higher beings, like it's the comms, like
Okay.
you've got the walkie-talkie, which is the crystals, so that you can hear them from the other, transcendent, going through the dimension. So that's so Uriel I didn't know much about him, honestly, and I did some research on him, and so I will provide some information that they wanted me to share about these particular archangels, so you can set a personal intention for yourself.
Hmm.
And but Uriel's all about purification, and so
Okay.
whether or not we live a pure life, the world we live in is not pure, and
Hmm.
we we could maybe acquire stains in a sense, even despite our best efforts to be, the pure expression of who we
Yeah.
are. So that the Uriel serves to restore us to that sense of purity. He can even remove um, stains from the soul.
Hmm.
We've all had, I don't remember if this was this video or another one, we've all incarnated pretty much everywhere as the king, as the slave, as the victim, as
The
you know,
archetypes.
the pursuer, right, the hero,
Hmm.
all that crap. And so we might have had some lingering unresolved energy that we inherited from our past incarnations, and that is a stain on the soul.
Oh,
I think I was a mass murderer in one life. Well, I'll just say it.
wow.
It wasn't this life,
Yeah.
but I believe I eviscerated people and really studied their insides, and it's just this thing. And so that's there. But
Hmm.
that was what I agreed to do, and my victims agreed to have the victim experience. So there's no judgment here.
Hmm.
And so Uriel brings that awareness of non-judgment, but also lifts any lingering echoes or stains that you might have incarnated into this lifetime that have nothing to do with your present
Hmm.
incarnation. So that's a little bit about the archangels, answer to your question, the experience. As far as I know, this doesn't exist any. I don't know anyone else who's doing this level
I've
of
never heard of anything
multidimensional healing
of
work.
like this. I love that
Right.
it's the channeled meditation. There's two separate ones, and there's actually a channeled crystal layout. And all that to me is just like the ultimate. It just sounds so amazing. And I think that, my next question was about Archangel or Uriel, because that's one that I don't really know that much about either. What color is his ray? Do you know off the top of your head?
Well, the archangels aren't
They don't
specifically
have specific colors.
tied to a color,
Okay.
but if there was one, the quick answer I got was yellow.
Okay.
I could look that up, and that's actually a great question.
Okay.
Yeah, uh, yeah. Oh,
Oh,
what?
I have. Okay, go ahead. Ask your question
No,
or
no,
find
no, no,
your.
no, no. Because I didn't know. This was the crystal. I'll probably bring it. I like telling this story. Um, I didn't want this video to go on too long, but here we are. Um, I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a good angle, right?
Hmm.
So there's this. It's an inclusion, but they're often uh, interpreted as like angels, fairies,
Hmm.
beings in here. So here it is. It's inside the crystal, and
Hmm.
then at a particular angle, you can just interpret this as a mountaintop. Okay. So when I was sitting there on my computer with this crystal next to me, 2008, I felt a buzzing go around my head. So I don't necessarily see, but I feel, I sense.
Hmm.
I sense. If someone's thinking about me, and depending on who they are, they'll be like, I'll feel them like sitting right on top of my head, and I'm like, okay, thanks. But anyway, this was a very, very strong, very high energy that was like, it became distracting, and I
Yeah.
stopped and I said, "Who are you?" And it said Archangel Uriel, and I said, and so it said he said that he was coming to me using the crystal. Oh, it's moving
Hmm.
now. And so I
Yeah.
had no idea what he was about. I googled Archangel Uriel, and this is the amazing thing about technology. I believe it's at times it is actually manipulated by the Pleiadians. I think they have that technology. Of course, all of Apple and Steve Jobs, he was very much working with the Pleiadians. That's why when you're going through something and the perfect song, the perfect moment, and the perfect song comes on the radio, or you're flipping through
Hmm.
the channels and you'll just see the glimpse of like the perfect thing. It
Yeah.
seems like these coincidences are just too. The signs are everywhere, right? So there's this media ability to manipulate the media to get the right
Oh,
message through.
okay.
So, because you can, and I've done this and I've typed them again. I have never found that original article again. But when I typed in Archangel Uriel, the first thing was a picture, a painting of an archangel descending from the sky and landing on a mountaintop. And it said Archangel Uriel was the first archangel to walk or to come down and walk on the earth. And
Well,
I looked back at the crystal and I said, "Holy shit!" See, now it's hiding. I said, "Here's the archangel
hmm.
coming down onto the mountain top,"
Wow.
and I was like, my whole head's tingling right now. So this stuff is, I can't make this up.
I know.
furthermore, furthermore, I I found this crystal in a one of those wooden um, like barrels, with like a
Okay.
ball around the side, and,
Yeah.
and there were tons of them just stuck there, like poured into it, in a tattoo parlor in the Haight Ashbury in San Francisco.
Wow.
And I walked in. I don't know what I was doing there, but I don't even have any tattoos. But I looked in the bin, and this one came to me, and I
Mhm.
bought it, and I had it, and I was working with it, and about 2 weeks later, Uriel popped in, and so I'm very
Wow.
honored and grateful to listen,
Hmm.
listen, and then also to receive. So I'll bring this crystal with me, and so Uriel helped me to create a layout specific for his vibration as well. So
Wow.
I'm very excited to offer this in
Yeah.
Cleveland, and I hope. Oh, I'm also. Everyone will go home with two gemstones. One will be attuned to the frequency of the Archangel Michael
Okay.
layout, and one will have the complete frequency of the Uriel layout, so that in your own time you can meditate and reconnect with these for your experience. In fact, that the general admittance is they just put these stones on their heart chakra, one stone for each archangel, and that's how they have the experience. But for me personally, uh, paying the extra money to receive the full layout, to have all the stones placed on you, is a much deeper somatic experience. So I'm just going to put that
Yeah,
out there.
that's something I would totally do. So I have a, question. People that are coming to the Archangel Sound Experience, do they need to do anything to prepare? Do they need to have a question or something to meditate on,
That's a great question.
or
I
do
like
they need a
to.
journal afterwards?
I would definitely recommend bringing a journal. I would also recommend not wearing bright red clothing because
Okay.
it interferes with the crystal energies. Maybe I could have mentioned that earlier.
Yes, it's in the description, I think,
Yeah.
of the class.
As far as an intention or a question, it's up to the individual.
Okay.
When I do work, I find it very hard to come up with questions. I don't. For a long time, I didn't know what question to ask or what the right question was. So
Hmm.
I just said, quite blankly, "I'm open to experience what's for my greatest good at this moment," and allow, without expectation, to have an experience.
Okay.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah. Of course, you can have Archangel Michael help heal something,
Hmm.
help overcome a challenge that you're experiencing, and he's good at that. Uriel for things you might regret.
Hmm.
It's good to help. He'll help to wash those away.
Wow.
Although a more complete regret release comes with forgiveness, but we're not going to open that can of worms and do any more active spiritual healing work
Hmm.
um, at this experience. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Bradford, for taking this time and answering some questions and giving more information about this Archangel Sun experience that we're doing together on March 3rd at Hot Yoga Twinsburg.
You're welcome.
Look forward to it.
Me
See
too.
you soon.
Yeah. And if you want to learn more about me, you can visit my
Mm,
website, crystalmusichealing.com. That's
mhm.
also the name of my Facebook page. And I'm on Instagram as Bradford Tilden. And I have two YouTube channels. The one with more subscribers is the one I recommend. And you could do the @Bradford Tilden, and you'll find that YouTube channel. And subscribe to that. I put lots of fun stuff up on there.
Cool.
All right.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Bye.
Bye.